Alright, did it switch you guys over? Sometimes it just doesn't update when I move the player's token thing.
No,
It
it
did.
appears that it switched us over.
Yeah, it hasn't loaded for me yet, but...
Okay. As long as it's like loading, then we'll be good. So yeah, we'll pick up basically like as you guys are arriving to the town of Vallaki. It's getting to be about dusk at this point. It's not like full blown dark yet, but the sun is starting to set. I honestly don't remember if I read the description last time, so I'm just gonna reread it this time. But
Okay.
the town of Vallaki, like, it's walled in. There's like a wooden wall all around it, and there's guards walking along the top of the wall. As you approach, you can also see there's like wooden pikes all along the sides of the road with wolf heads impaled upon them. As you approach the gates, the guards on top call down and ask, like, who are you and what business do you have in Vallaki?
I forgot the name of the city we came from.
It was Barovia.
That's what it's called. Stanix is gonna call and say, "We're a group of travelers or adventurers from Barovia. We came here in seek of refuge for a member of our party."
He says, "Who sent you?"
Someone else should answer that because I still don't remember his name either.
Shouldn't like the native person answer this?
The
Burgomaster.
I say your mother.
Oh, this is not gonna go well.
Why'd I have someone else?
The guard says, my mother actually died a while ago. I don't know what you mean by that. But,
Rip.
Irina steps forward and introduces herself. She says, I'm Irina Kolyana. My father was the burgomaster of Barovia. And he recently passed away, and my brother took over his post. He sent me here to stay safe. Or he believes that I'll be safer in this town. The guard asks, safer from what? And she goes on to explain that she's been attacked by Strahd and everything. And surprisingly, the guard lets her in. The gates swing open in front of you guys. He says, I'm sure that our burgomaster will be happy to help. I bid that you pay him a visit at some point while you are here. And then you guys are free to explore Vallaki and try to find somewhere safe to leave Irina.
Should we not just have her write our note and we leave again? I don't think we should miss our other meeting.
Yeah. Our lives kind of depend on getting there.
I mean, it's not like we're not gonna have to fight him at some point anyway.
But I
Hopefully
feel like
tonight,
right now
not
we
that
would
night.
die. I feel like at our level we would die, I'm pretty sure.
Which, by the way, I don't know how much I agree with you guys making that meeting, but, you know, since it's already been made, I think we should honor it.
It's too late now.
Called really making a meeting. I mean, we were invited to dinner. We could just not show up.
I mean,
But Strahd is watching us.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were not going to show up, it just would have been better to be like, no, we're not going. You know, instead of like, yeah, we'll come, and then just not come.
Just ghost him.
I mean, we could offer a sacrifice.
Here, take the kazoo.
He
the
obviously
gnome
doesn't
and the
like
kazoo.
I don't know. It seems foolhardy to walk into, you know, the guy who's like stalking us is all like, you know, hey, you've been stalking me. Can I come over for tea?
I mean, I'm just saying, if I knew someone was stalking me and they sent someone that was like, hey, come have my dinner at my house, I just would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. we skipped that step, and I feel like now it would be much worse for us if we lie and just don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the negative outweighs the positive, considering that the messenger was the one that was like, hey guys, you can go ahead and, like, silver your weapons, and then he's like, come have dinner. Right? Same guy?
Yep,
Yeah,
it was the same guy.
Was that my same guy too?
Yeah, so
Probably
and
was.
that I wasn't like super clear on. It was just by the name that I gave you guys in the like that little background info. But that was the same guy that like sent you on the quest to kill the werewolves and everything. He was driving that carriage and gave you that invitation.
I guess I'm game for whatever. I mean, technically I wasn't there when the decision was made, so I don't know how much I can be held liable for any choices.
I mean, my thinking was it.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think-
we could just break the wagon and claim we couldn't make it in time because our wagon broke.
I'm pretty
You
sure
don't
we're
have a
walking.
wagon. Yeah, that's just there to like symbolize the whole party.
Well, okay, so I guess the point was we couldn't make it for some reason. We could break somebody's ankle, it would be the same effect. Ooh.
Are you volunteering?
No, let's break
No.
Dougie's ankle. Without the moral compass, I feel this need to just be a little more chaotic.
Oh, so to describe where Kellen came from, by the way, probably like a half mile before you guys hit the gate, he just kind of stepped out of a portal and started to walk with you again.
Alright.
Welcome back, Mr. Dimble.
If anyone has questions, I'll freely answer them for you.
No, some things are left to the other side of the portal.
He just kind of nods at that, and yeah, just keeps walking. I did, was able to divine your guys' major recaps while I was gone, so that was a plus.
You missed one hell of a party.
Maybe Kellen's the one stalking us and it's not actually Strahd.
Yeah.
Well, I hope when we go back to that place, they are going to have, like, regular tobacco for sale that's not, like 500 gold a bag or whatever it was.
Yeah. And so, Dylan, you can get anything, like, through the Vallakians that were in that camp that they found for 1.5 times the cost off the list. Some things just take a couple days.
Yeah, I did capture that, so.
The
Yeah.
what now? What are their name?
The Vallakians? Or no, never mind.
Vallaki.
That's the people from this town. Those are the Vistani.
Yeah,
There we go.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. My cat is squeezing
I was
herself.
confused.
No, I got distracted because my cat is just squeezing herself between 2 boxes right now. But
So-
it only leads to the wall. There's nothing back there. And
These people are the Valkyrie and those people are the Vulcan.
yep.
Okay.
it's where the Vulcans can move around, and the Valkyans are the ones that are, like, stuck.
Yep.
Well, we lost Archimon. He's somewhere wandering around inside the town now.
Irina actually goes with Sarkomond, stating that she's gonna find a room, and generally the bar is also the inn. So, her and Sarkomond head off. Does the rest of the party follow them?
We might want to.
Yeah, I look confused and then start chasing.
Alright, so Irina leads you guys to an inn in the center of town. It's N2. As you approach, gray smoke issues from the chimney of a large 2-story wooden building with a stone foundation and sagging tile roof, upon which several ravens have perched. A painted wooden sign hanging above the main entrance depicts a blue waterfall and states it's the Blue Water Inn. As you approach, Irina says, the Martikovs own this inn. I know their family, like they knew my father. They will let me stay here, and I'm sure they can find room for you guys after your dinner as well.
you be safe to stay here?
She says, my father trusted them, so I do as well. I think that I'll be safe.
If anyone asks to come in your room, just say no.
Unless it's one of us, and then we'll have a password like pineapple.
What's a
We'll
pineapple?
figure out some sort of system. I forgot they don't exist.
Yeah, is a pineapple a D&D fruit?
I don't know.
Why not?
Okay,
Sounds tropical.
It wouldn't be a
Pumpkin patch?
Barovian fruit, for sure.
meat pie.
Okay.
There we go.
We'll say meat pie 3 times and then fall into a trance. How about that?
It could be like a passphrase, like the hags sell the meat pies, because we're the only people that know that, I think.
Or believe it.
That's true. It could work.
We could say Irina wanna see ya. Then you would know it was us.
Oh my god.
Alright, that's an acceptable answer.
Alright. Are you guys gonna go in with Irina, or did you want to head straight to dinner?
Don't we need to like
Sarkamond is definitely getting a drink.
Okay.
How much for the most expensive thing they have?
The most expensive thing they have would be a pint of Red Dragon Crush wine for 1 silver point.
I buy it.
Cool.
I buy 3.
Nice.
Wow.
When you guys walk
I get
in,
more.
you can see, and actually, let me switch. There's a map for this inn.
I am not carrying him around.
Could you, even if you had to?
I don't know. I don't know how big he is.
Can you guys see in the dark?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
You have a dragon and you can't see in the dark?
No.
Yep.
It's so black.
Yep, Dragonborn don't have night vision.
Not even like low light vision or
Nope, I got nothing.
such.
Yeah, it kinda does.
You could just light
I
something
get-
on fire though.
That's true.
It's not supposed to be pitch black, right?
Well, I was really hoping that we were not going to be like walking through the creepy forest roads with a torch, but that's what it is.
We'll only do that if we have to.
We already have to. It's dusk.
I'll grab onto someone's tail and they'll just lead me around like a blind man.
Wait, you breathe fire. Why don't you just light everything up?
Because I don't want to waste it.
You just burn the trees down.
Start a
I'll burn you down.
What'd I do to you? It was just a suggestion.
Oh, Dylan, are you rolling your, like, portent dice or whatever they're called? The ones that you can, like,
Yep.
replace? Nice. Did it switch the map for you guys?
Negative.
No.
We can't see anything?
Real black.
Try
The
scrolling
shape
down
of the
on the map.
changed.
Try scrolling down. You might be on, like, the bottom of that map.
We're not.
No, I just have a black square.
I don't see any character tokens though, so it just might be that our character tokens haven't loaded into the Fog of War or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is there supposed to be the fog of war in the inn?
Oh, hey, I figured
I
out.
think if you have dynamic lighting, it's for all buildings, but I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I figured out why you guys can't see anything.
Are our tokens not on the map?
Oh wow.
No, I
There we go.
literally put them on the map. I put them on the map layer instead of the object layer. So
Oh.
now you
Yep, that
guys
does
should
help.
be able to see it if you scroll down. That's my bad.
Yep.
Okay,
Hey
so
guys, there's twins.
I was
So-
gonna say, yeah, there's Hans and Franz over on a table.
yeah, when you enter, you can see, like, you obviously go into the tap room. Damp cloaks hang from pegs in the entrance portico. The tavern is packed with tables and chairs with narrow paths meandering between them. A bar stretches along one wall under a balcony that can be reached by a wooden staircase that hugs the north wall. Another balcony overhangs an entrance to the east. All the windows are fitted with thick shutters and crossbars. Lanterns hanging above the bar and resting on the tables bathe the room in dull orange light and cast shadows upon the walls, most of which are adorned with wolf heads mounted on plaques. Over at that table, like on the north side of the room, there's two men. They look like they're brothers. Like you can see the relation in their face. They're obviously very drunk. They're being loud and like obnoxious. And
wonderful.
yeah, tending bar is like a middle-aged woman, and then sitting at the bar is a man dressed in very colorful clothing. He's older. He's got glasses on. He's balding. And then there's just other like standard people in the town or in the tap room. Just like nothing special about them.
Do the drunk brothers appear well dressed? I'll make a perception.
They do more well dressed than like most of the other people in town, but not exceptionally well dressed.
Okay. Oh my god, if I could have her! Wow, that's really okay. I cannot seem to move my token without moving the entire map. Am I doing something wrong? Oh, there we go. Haha, I can do it with the arrows. So I come over here, and I do my normal thing. I use my, I cheat at gambling, and I see if they want to gamble. That's what I do. So do they want to gamble?
So as they approach, they say, "What are your terms? And what game do you want to play?"
No, let's just keep it simple. Let's just do, a game of dice, and my terms are, I'll even give you guys good odds. I'll give you guys 2-to-1 odds. How's that for you? How's that for terms?
And how much are we wagering?
What are they called? Lectern points?
The Electrum points? Yeah.
Electrum, yeah. Okay, so let's go with, I'll say 40 Electrum.
They say, they pull out a sack of coins and set it on the table, and they say, "We'll see your bet."
Alright.
Outside of game, boo on wizards for forcing that terrible currency on us in this adventure.
Yeah,
I know.
I was honestly, for simplicity's sake, we're gonna treat Electrum points the same as gold points. It just like, I don't know. That stupid like 2-to-1 conversion, I realized is gonna be just fucking obnoxious. So from here on out, like,
Electrum.
yeah, I might still accidentally give them to you in terms of Electrum points, but they'll spend the same value as gold, basically.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind them if literally anything else Electrum for cost, but it's all gold or silver.
Yeah, no, and I don't know why that's even like a thing. When I was learning 5e, I was like, why is this a currency? And then like it played a huge role, or not really a huge role, but like a specific part of this. But it's not worth it. It really is not.
It's just the flavor thing to give DMs more.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Most people probably don't bother with them. But anyway, so we gamble and I cheat. Here's my sleight of hand. Woohoo.
Okay, and they make a dexterity check. It shouldn't have been with advantage, so they'll take the lower one. They don't catch you cheating.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was...
Hey, they're drunk. Give them a break.
Wow.
That was a nat 1 and a nat 20.
Yeah, no,
Jesus.
seriously.
Oh, God.
Alright, and then, now that I got their token rolling correctly, you beat them in the sleight of hand check and everything, so, yeah, you win, Danny.
Sweet.
While that's
Take it.
going on, the woman tending bar, she runs, or she doesn't run, but she's gone back into the kitchen. She's not currently at the bar. And you can see like the man dressed very colorfully he's obviously like eyeing you guys. And 2 other people have come into the bar. And they take a table at the very north end of the map, or the room.
Ooh, nice beard.
So the guy that's dressed really colorfully is the guy at the bar.
Yeah.
Alright, Kellen sits down next to him. He's like, "How's it going, sir?"
He says, I'm well. How are you?
No, well, you know, the road from Tisdor Lake. What was that lake called?
Where the camp was?
Yeah.
Oh god, what was it called? It was Sayre Falls, something like that, and then Sayre Pond.
The road from Sayre Falls here seemed to be pretty calm today, so, you know, that was pretty nice.
He says, that's surprising for these parts. But you don't look like you're from around here.
You know, have been for about the last couple of weeks, but yeah, can't say much beyond that. Got pulled in through the fog, thrown into a crazy death house, killed a vampire, you know, just kind of the usual. Is it okay to smoke in here?
He says, yes, the Mardikovs do allow smoking. He pulls a pipe of his own out, lights up with you. He introduces himself.
I'll get that for you. I use prestidigitation to light both our pipes at the same time, because that's how Kellen rolls.
Nice.
Yes.
He nods in, like, appreciation.
Cantrips being useful.
He introduces himself. He says, I'm also not from Barovia originally. I came here about a month ago. My name is Rictavio. I run a circus in, I'll say Waterdeep, because that's one of the only D&D towns I know. But I run a circus in Waterdeep, and I've always heard rumors of Barovia, and I came here looking for new acts to add to my circus. I didn't realize I'd get stuck here, however.
Yeah, that one-way ticket's kind of tricky, you know, that's not really well known from the outside, so, man, how big was your circus?
So it was fair-sized. You know, it's obviously, like, the circus just hasn't been doing well in recent years. I have nothing out of the ordinary, so I came here, after hearing rumors of the dark and dangerous creatures that roam these lands, hoping that if I caught something, you know, like a vampire or a werewolf, that it would bring me what I need for my circus to regain its vitality.
Fair enough goal.
He says, "Why did you come to come to this land?"
Well, honestly, I got duped into hunting werewolves, and you know, that was a mistake. So yeah, got really foggy. Was it really foggy when you came in?
Oh yeah, he says the fog is very common around here. Almost every night, as soon as the sun sets, it starts to creep back in. The sunlight keeps it at bay the best it can, but even then, there's times that it's present. You really can't escape it here.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. So, dang. You found anywhere that sells tobacco for a decent price? The person in the first town tried to charge me like 500 gold or something. It was ridiculous.
Your best bet is to go through one of the Vistani people, honestly. He says they are the main traffickers of goods in these lands. Just don't get on their bad side, however. Many of them are in league with Strahd, the evil ruler of these lands. I'm sure you've heard of him by this point. But I would just be careful when you deal with them.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, no problem. He says, if you're ever in this town again, or around here, you know, you seem like a good man. I would be interested in learning more about your party. and what you're aiming to do while you're here. I'm staying at this inn myself, so I'll be here most nights. Otherwise, I'm out looking for acts for my circus, but I'd like to talk again in the future.
Yeah, if I make it through the night and early next morning, I'll make sure to find you again.
While you're saying this, the woman comes back out of the kitchen, followed by a man, another male. He's got a huge bushy beard with hints of gray in it. He's dressed similarly to the woman and has an apron on. You can tell he was cooking back in the kitchen. And then, Mark, were you going over to talk to those two new guys that came in?
Yeah.
So as you approach, you can see, like, they both have bows and quivers that they've left on the ground next to them. And they're dressed in, like, hunter's cloaks, like wolf pelts around their shoulders and stuff. You can tell that they just got back from a day's hunt.
I see you two like to hunt. I too as well like to wield a bow and arrow.
They say, "Are you a ranger from around these parts? You don't seem familiar to us."
Not from around here, but I have been shooting it up a little bit the last couple of weeks.
So, interesting. And you are?
My name is Erevin.
And they introduce themselves. The one with the beard says, "My name is Soldar Soldarovich." And the other one, he's got long dark hair and like a goatee. He introduces himself as Yevgeny Krushkin. They say
Nice to...
they're local
Go ahead.
hunters. They're from Vallaki. So they usually come to this inn just after a day's hunt to wind down, get a drink.
How much does a beer cost?
So this town, or beer is not something in Barovia. They don't recognize it when you mention it. They say, "Are you talking about wine or mead?" You can get mead for a copper point. You can get purple grape mash #3 wine for 3 copper, or red dragon crush wine for 1 silver.
I buy a round of mead for the table.
Okay. They lift their pints up and say cheers and thank you for your drink. They say, "Are you guys, or what are you guys here for? Like, your party seems odd for these lands."
We've kind of been suckered into an adventure, but it's, not all bad, minus the near-death experiences around every turn.
And say, "Okay, where all have you been then?"
We came in from the mists and started in Barovia, and then we've made our way here to help a friend.
They say, "Oh, you haven't seen Dangerous yet then. The western part of this land is where some really dark powers lie. We know the land pretty well, though, so we can, for the right price, help you guys find what you're looking for, or places that you hear about. We know most of the landmarks here, but and we can point out some of the dangers along the way. We will not travel at night, though. That is a foolish thing to do."
I understand that. I buy another round and then keep talking about possibly using their services.
Okay. They say, and then they kind of let you know where they stay in town. Usually, most evenings are here at the Blue Water Inn for a few hours, getting a couple of rounds of drinks. Otherwise, they're out hunting around the forests to the north of town, around the lake that's up there. Let me look up what the lake's name was. Lake Zarovich, which they let you know, has been, there haven't been any fish in recently. There's, over the last year or so, they've noticed, fishing income came in, like, or fishing yields were dropping, and now they're not catching anything. So really no one's out there fishing anymore. That's why they hunt more frequently. It used to be like a less common thing for them to do, but most days they're out there hunting wolves now. And then they let you know where their houses are in town so that you can find them in the mornings. So you have, like, effectively set up that avenue to use them as guides.
Oh, that explains all the wolf heads on the spikes around here, and I thank them, for telling me where they live.
They say, oh, those wolf heads on the spikes are actually from our burgomaster's festival, as he called it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they say our burgomaster is an eccentric man.
I make a joke that it's a good thing none of us seem to be werewolves or anything.
They say, oh, it's not even that. He has these crazy ideas for festivals and believes that the happiness it brings to this town drives Strahd away. There's something wrong with that man. He's got a screw loose or something.
Yeah,
Don't use those exact words. They use something that would make sense for, like, Barovia, but
he's a few meat pies short of a dream.
Yep. But they say, yeah, his last festival was called the Wolf's Head Jamboree, and he paid us very well for all those wolf heads. But he sent us and a couple other local hunters out to just bring as many wolves back as we could, not even for meat, solely for this festival where people danced around with wolf's heads on pikes. It was more macabre than fun. It was very weird.
Yeah, that almost seems too suspicious.
That's awesome. I love that. I like this place, guys. We should stay for a while. We should stay till the next festival. Come on, guys. That's like a great opportunity to make some money.
Yeah, and
how often does he hold these festivals?
They say it's been every 2 or 3 weeks for a couple years now since he took over, basically. Many in this town are very tired of his crazy ideas and antics.
Fair.
And he says, if it's between you and me, it's the wall that keeps us safe. It's not his festivals.
But is this Strahd character someone you can trust?
They say Strahd definitely is not. Honestly, like, this wall should not be able to keep him out. I think that he just doesn't see anyone in this town as worth his time.
So the wall's not enchanted or anything?
No, it's not. It's just a straight wooden wall.
So the only thing keeping us safe here is getting drunk.
Pretty much, yeah, it does help. He sees you as much less of a threat.
Oh, I just didn't realize I was in danger anymore. But yours is good too.
Yeah. I just look at Sarkamon and shake my head.
Then, while you guys were talking, that man who came out of the kitchen comes over and approaches Stanix and Irina. And as he comes up, he's kind of eyeing Irina skeptically, and as he gets closer, he throws his arms out and, like, cries her name. He says, "Irina, is that you?" And she replies, she says, "Erwin," and kind of gives him a big hug. They obviously know each other. This must be one of the people that she was talking about that knew her dad. And she turns to Stanix and says, "Stanix, this is Erwin Martikov. He's the owner of this inn. His father him and my father were old friends." And he turns and introduces himself and shakes your hand and everything. And says, same thing, like, "What's your party doing here? Do you have anything different that you wanted to say compared to everyone else?"
Not really. Other than just we came here in seek of refuge for Irina.
And he says, refuge from what? He looks at her like very worried, obviously.
Strahd has seemed to have taken a liking to her.
Yeah, she's kind of ashamed. Like, she doesn't really want to look him in the eyes. She says, yes, he's come for me many of these last nights and bitten me twice. My father recently perished from the stress that this has brought to our family. With that, Erwin, he kind of like grabs her hands and he's like, no, he's like, Kolyan is dead? And she says, yes, just 2-3 nights ago. I don't remember how many nights at this point. And she kind of just recounts the whole story. And he says, I see. He says, well, you're safe here with us. I've got a room for you. He turns to Stanix and says, we're pretty full at the moment. But I'm sure I can work out a deal with my kids. I can have them sleep with me and my wife. And some of your party can use their room. We should have room for the 6 of you as well, even though there's only 4 right now. He says, but there will be room for you guys here too, should you seek it.
Very good. We'll likely be back. Probably tomorrow at some point. Whatever you have available would do just fine for us. Thank you.
He says, I'll make sure to keep these rooms free then. He says, Irina, let me show you upstairs. We'll get you situated. You can tell me more about what we can do to help keep you safe. And the 2 of them head upstairs. Yeah.
Do you have like character info that you could like put in our little appendixes or whatever for it?
Oh yeah, I do have handouts. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Because if I'm already having trouble I can't even talk. that means really getting to me, so I'll need all the memory help I can get.
Alright, so that is the Mardukov family. You haven't met his sons yet, but that's him and his wife who was bartending.
I don't think I want to meet the kids.
You would have also learned by this point, he would have introduced his wife who was bartending as... Oh god, where's her name? As Danica Mardukov.
The race car driver?
Yep. So those, and then I have them for the hunters as well. So that's Soldar Soldarovich and Yevgeny Krushkin.
Soldar has a very creative name.
Yeah, right?
He also looks like he's missing an eye.
Yeah. They tried real hard with him.
You guys should have a Town of Vallaki handout in your journal that I'm going to keep updated with some of this stuff.
Is there like a rye-based brew drink here? Or is it just like, the wines and mead?
Just the wines and mead. The Vistani don't bring much ale in just because it's so large and kind of a pain to transport. And there's no breweries here. There's just by this point you guys have noticed at the 2 inns and all the wine barrels that you found in Death House, they're all the same types of wine. You've only seen the 3 so far. Purple Grape Mash number 3, Red Dragon Crush, and Champagne du la Stomp. And it's all from the same winery, the Wizard of the... Oh god, I can never remember the name of this one. The Wizard of Wines.
Wonder if he's an actual wizard.
Well, guys, if this whole, taking that straw thing doesn't work for us, we should just, open a brewery and, start making in the money.
Yeah,
Give him variety.
So Danica actually hears you guys talking about the wine and stuff. And she kind of comes over to the party, and she says, I hear you talking about the winery. Are you thinking about going there at some point? Because we haven't received our last delivery, and we're starting to run really low. We could definitely use some help in getting a replenishment. So if you guys go there and can figure out what's going on, it would be greatly appreciated.
Is it east or west of here?
She says it's far to the west, actually.
If we head west, we'll come back and talk more about that.
Okay.
Definitely keep it as an option.
She says, we've got a couple barrels left, we'll be okay for maybe a month, and that's when Erwin and I are gonna start getting worried. This inn is our livelihood, and without it, I'm not sure what we would do.
That fits in the timetable, I think.
Yeah, I think we can do it.
She says, okay, and if you do so, you'll always have free drinks and lodging at this inn, and I'm sure we'll figure out some other type of reward. She says,
Hey, drinks and lodging's good.
Erwin doesn't like to talk about it, but his father actually owns the winery. They have some bad stuff in their past and don't talk to each other. But I know
Relatable.
Erwin would also like to know that his father's safe. So if you can bring back news or proof that he's okay, then we could probably increase that reward.
Alright, yeah. No, sounds good. If we learn anything, we'll be sure to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
She says, okay, and goes back to serving the people in the bar.
We have a dinner appointment to keep, traveling through the very dangerous nighttime in Barovia. Chop chop, people.
I'm more worried about the destination than the trip there.
So you guys are...
Yes, but we were just expressly warned not to travel at night by those hunters. Me and Aravan.
In our defense, we kind of don't have a choice.
We always have a choice. We might not like the consequences, but we always have a choice.
The hunters haven't left the bar yet, right?
No, they are still over there.
I go back and let them know we probably will be departing, but as soon as we're back in town, I will get in contact with them.
And they say, okay, we look forward to your word, and like we said, we are here to help. It just comes at a price.
I say thank you for your information and your time, and buy them a couple more meads, and then head back towards the party.
As you're leaving, they call out and they say, are you guys leaving town right now?
Yeah, we kind of have to.
They say, okay, as long as you're heading east, you should be relatively safe. Just make sure that you have light with you. You don't want to be caught outside in the dark.
Thanks for the heads up.
They say, no problem. And they just go back to drinking. They're getting pretty drunk by this point. The two brothers that Danny was gambling against are, completely wasted. Danica's about ready to, kick them out. They're getting so obnoxious. And Rictavio has retired to his room.
So, anything important that we've discussed, the two brothers probably have no real clue aside from the conversation they had with Sarkomon.
Probably not.
And it seems to me as if the innkeeper and her husband are trustworthy. I mean, clearly Irina knows them, so that shouldn't be too bad. Are we ready to head out?
Do we have torches?
Let's go. I have 10.
I have
Right.
13.
We should be fine then.
God, you guys have a lot of weight.
It's okay, I have a bag of holding.
Sticks
I'm
with
good.
a bundle of cloth on it.
You
It
do
can't
have a
weigh
bag
that
of
much.
holding. That's right.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I only have 5. I put a bunch of them back in my chest, which is somewhere.
But if each one only weighs 5 pounds and you have 10 of them, that's 50 pounds.
Does a torch weigh 5 pounds?
I
I
would
wouldn't
be
be
shocked.
surprised.
They only weigh 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's literally just a stick with a bundle of cloth on the top of it.
Well, it's a little bit more than a stick. It's a fairly large stick.
It's an anti-flame stick.
It's definitely not a twig.
Alright, so
Unlike Sarkomon, who skips leg day. LOL. JK.
are you guys leaving the inn now then?
Yeah. As soon as we get outside, I guess I'll light up a torch.
Okay, so I don't know, do you guys want to do anything else in the town or go straight back to the overworld map?
I don't know if we have much time, do we?
Yeah, I would probably recommend just going straight to the
Yeah,
castle, honestly.
Kellen would be, if we're gonna go meet with him, it's better sooner than later.
Yeah, let's just go straight back.
Alright.
I feel like Kellen is very persuasive right now.
Sarkomon is still of the opinion that this is a bad idea.
Oh, you guys should have. Kellen's very much of keeping his word if he says he's gonna do something.
Sarkomon does not.
That has burned him in the past, and so
As we round the corner past that lighthouse or windmill or whatever, I say, don't forget, we're gonna try to swing past there again.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that thing.
as you go by, you can see the goat and donkey, I think was the other one that I said. They're still, like, the two animals are still outside the mill, and there's light coming from windows on the second and third stories of the
is that
windmill.
where the hags live?
Hey, that's my mill!
Was your mill until the deed disintegrated.
But you can see, like, shadows, like, dancing in the light that's in there. And yes, Dylan, that is where Morgantha and her daughters live.
Creepy.
Ooh, they're doing voodoo witch stuff. Let's go.
That's cool, we should check it out.
Should we, like,
We
dim...
can't
well,
right now.
Well, this is far more interesting than Strahd.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to die. I mean...
There might not be much tying me to this world, but I still don't want to die.
Well, you know, you're going to.
So...
Not yet. I
All
have
I'm
more.
saying is that hags usually have really good communication with animals around them. And if the nighttime is more dangerous because of animals, I feel like they just have more weapons at night than in the day. So, just FYI.
He has a point.
And we're just going to go hang out with the vampire.
But at least we're
again,
inside.
And at least the vampire... Better the enemy you know than the enemy you don't.
Haven't we already met the hags?
Only one. We don't know how many are there.
One
But
of
we know
them
that's
leads us.
only
we know
Strahd.
they've been stealing
It's not only
children.
Strahd. You don't think Strahd has any guards?
We were invited into his house, at least. We'd be kicking
We're not sneaking in.
Do you think he'd adheres to those kinds of laws.
I
We're
mean,
not sneaking in.
I don't think it's not our house, so I don't think he would just straight up be like, "Oh, guys, come on in," and then try to. Well, I don't know. I don't know the motivations of a vampire.
I mean,
Right.
from everything we've gathered, he invited us here to kill him. So, he probably wants to put his whole proposition of, oh, just take my spot and become all powerful on the table. And when we say no to that, hopefully we just get politely kicked out and not murdered on the spot. But
Besides, if he had wanted to, we were totally distracted with that writhing mound of trash that nearly killed us anyway. He could have taken us out then, so I don't think he's really that interested in murdering us yet.
And again, you guys promised we would go back tonight, so we gotta go back tonight.
No, I promise nothing ever.
I mean, if you want to go explore the mill and die, be our guest, but we're gonna go this way.
Oh, I also just found I had a handout for Rictavio as well.
Hey, that dude's
Dapper.
So as you guys approach or like are coming around the corner of the trail before you like enter the woods, and after you've passed the mill, you see two figures walking down in front of you on the trail. You can see that they're both clad in like rusty armor that's kind of fallen off, and they both have long swords in their hands.
Oh, great. More enchanted armor now?
Everybody go ahead and make a perception check real quick.
time to roll an 8. I almost called it.
Danny got a nat 1, so he's looking in the wrong direction.
With how you guys rolled the last session, I'm not expecting any of us to get a nat 20 at all for like 2 weeks.
Dude, wasn't that absurd? Like, there were so many 20s last session.
I will say that's my one issue I have with the roll 20 dice, is they seem to either be extremely cold or extremely hot, depending on the day.
Or character. My paladin can't roll worth shit.
Alright, so Erevan can tell, and especially with his favored undead enemy, from a distance, they, like, the way that they're walking, they're kind of shambling along, like, real jerky motions. They look like they're undead, and as he approaches, he can see that they are undead, but, in the eyes, he can see, like, they're obviously intelligent. They know, they're aware of their surroundings. It's not like a zombie where they just move mindlessly, and their eyes are almost, like, glowing red with just intense hatred.
I have a bad feeling about this.
They
How
have,
far away? Have they noticed us?
no, I was just gonna say they have not noticed you guys yet. And as of right now, they're about 75 feet away. So people that don't have dark vision, like on a ranged attack, you would have disadvantage right now.
Dark vision or low light vision?
It'd be dark vision at this point, since it's like the sun has set. It's pretty dark out. When you're in melee, if you have a torch or if someone nearby you has a torch, even if you drop it on the ground, you'd be okay. It would just be for ranged attacks. And if you have low light vision, I would say as long as you're within 30 feet, you won't have disadvantage.
So they're still like 15 feet out of my full view, but...
And you guys can move, like you said, they haven't noticed you. They're still actually walking down the path.
Towards or away?
They're walking away from you guys. They're heading towards Strahd's castle. So they're not skeletons actually. Like you can see, they still have the flesh on their bodies. It's just super pale. It's just not rotting like a zombie would be. I should have said that part.
Oh, so like husk.
Yeah, kind of.
Should we maybe just like hang back and follow them and see if they keep other things off the road for us?
Might as well.
Do we still have torches lit? Right,
I assume so, because, I mean,
Well,
I
we'll
was told to keep
extinguish
a light
them.
with me.
I know I was holding one. Was Phoenix, are you holding one too?
Yeah.
I don't know if we
Okay.
should douse them or not. I mean, if we stay far enough back, they might not notice.
Yeah, they haven't noticed them yet.
Well, I know we still need to get towards the dinner, so...
Yeah, and they're basically following the same path you guys need to.
Are they moving at an okay pace, or are they going like real slow?
They're moving like slightly slower than you guys would be, but not like shambling zombie speed.
I mean, can we slow our pace down to hang behind them about the distance that we are?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Everybody go ahead, or first off, are you dousing the torches?
Well, if we're gonna try to not be seen, yes.
But if they haven't noticed us yet and it's protecting us from something else, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you don't sneak with torches. But
True.
Right.
Maybe if we keep the torches behind us and then we don't, like, we still keep a safe distance.
Okay, everybody roll stealth real quick.
Rip.
I have a disadvantage.
There's what I was expecting.
Alright, so after when you guys came up on them, you were about, I would say, like 45 minutes walk from your destination. About 30 minutes into the walk, Stanix and Sarkamon both trip over a root and like make like some noise, and at that point the two figures ahead of you turn around and notice you guys.
There it is.
They both, you can kind of just, you see their swords move a little bit, and they both start to take a couple steps towards you, but they don't say anything.
Should we douse the torches now?
I think it's a little bit late at this point.
You wouldn't happen to work for or trying to be kill Strahd, would you?
And the one on the right just goes, Strahd?
Castle ruler? Points towards the castle.
Nope.
Yes, that's right. Strahd has ordered us to dinner, and it's very important that we get there. And you are supposed to guide us, don't you know?
And they both lift their swords, and they say, "You're allies of Strahd," and continue to move forward.
Strahd brought us here to kill him?
They say, "Wait, so you're killing Strahd, but you're in league with Strahd?" And they take one more step
No.
forwards.
No, oh no.
We're not
no,
killing
not
you.
in league. Not in league.
And they say, they take...
We've never even heard of Strahd before in our entire lives. We'll just be going.
They say, they take one more step forward, and they say, "Explain yourselves now."
Ugh.
Long-term goal, kill Strahd. Short-term goal, have dinner with Strahd.
Shut.
And they say, if you're killing Strahd, why are you going to dinner with Strahd? And they take another step forward.
There's
really
not
don't
you
wanna
have to do
die.
these things. I explain. I rolled the 18. Let me talk.
No.
Shut up. All of you. Don't be stupid. I tell them.
You're one to talk.
Yeah, well, I'm not the one with the bad charisma. I tell them he invited us to dinner and we don't want to be late. We mean you no harm. We just need to get there.
It's obvious that they were walking towards his castle with hate in their eyes. They're not friends of his.
And they take, like, they're still, they don't take another step forward. They still have their swords raised, but they say, why did he invite you to dinner? Like, why did...
We want to know that too.
And they say...
We're hoping if we go, we'll figure it out.
So they kind of lower their swords a little bit, and they say, so you're no friends of Strahd?
No.
No.
And...
No, I've never met Strahd in my life. We hate Strahd very much. Duh.
Danny's like
Talk about
super
anything
drunk
else.
saying
This is not
this.
going well.
No.
Why does he keep talking?
Ignore the bumbling fool.
Look, you know, I
Just
actually
ignore
have
him.
charisma than any of you. I'm just rolling like shit.
No, I know.
So they have lowered their swords by this point, and they say, if you're not friends of Strahd, why are you here? Or like, how do you prove to us that you are against him?
We killed a vampire a day ago. 2 days ago.
And they say, okay, what do you know of the history of this land?
Should we go?
Nothing.
The story about our hiding his favorite husk or favorite snack.
Well, we know that he used to be a warlord that got a deep and dark power by trading away his beloved.
And they-
And he had a semi-famous duel with a really powerful wizard not that long ago, I think.
and
We
they
also
say,
know that he's in search of someone to take his place.
they
And,
say,
yeah, he wants death or wants out.
yeah, so they say that last part is news to us. We didn't know he was searching for a replacement. But you still have much to learn about who he is and what he's put this land through. They're like, at this point they've kind of calmed down. Like, their eyes are no longer glowing with that hatred. But you can see they keep looking over their shoulder at Castle Ravenloft, which looms in the distance. And so they ask, who are you? Like, what are your names?
Well, I'm Stanix, she says as she's wiping off the dust from her armor.
Kellen Dimble.
Erevin.
My name is Tiberius, and if you don't mind me asking, you fellows don't look very good. Is there something wrong with you?
Can we tie him up?
It's actually high enough. They believe his name is now Tiberius.
Oh my god.
But they say,
Way to go, Danny.
they say, yes, we are undead. We like, they say that they're revenants. And they say, we were members of the Order of the Silver Dragon, who we opposed Strahd long ago, and he destroyed our people. And many of us we were so determined in our cause that we've never left this land. We roam it endlessly in hopes that we will one day be able to take Strahd down. We have yet to do so, though. These bodies are not as weak or not as strong as our original ones, and it's almost a curse, almost a blessing. We can help keep him in check, but we're never able to find the peace that we achieve or desire.
Would you find gentlemen happen to know anything about a holy symbol silver necklace?
They say
Power over him?
They say no. A necklace? Like, where did you hear about this?
Was
I
it the
actually
priest that
can't
told us
remember.
about that?
I think
It's all
Irina.
part of the prophecy that brought us to these lands. You see, you're in luck. You're part of the Silver Dragon cult, and we have a descendant of the Silver Dragon right here with us. And I elbow Stanix. And I informed them that we heard about this silver pendant. At the same time, we learned of Stanix's great ancestry.
And they say, we know she's no descendant of the Silver Dragon.
I don't think Dragonborn are native to this land, just for your future lies.
Whatever.
That was
Dragonborn
clever,
mate
though.
Everywhere with everything.
They say, you've never heard of the Order of the Silver Dragon? Or, like, you haven't heard of us yet in these lands?
Not that I'm aware of, but I do love history, so I'm always up for a lesson.
Well, as we said, we were part of a group that opposed Strahd. He defeated us, and we roam these lands. But there's much more to us than that. I urge you should go visit our... Oh God, I don't know what the right word for this place... Our headquarters, and speak with our leader, who still lives there. He has gone a bit mad, so be careful. You have to be very careful in the way that you introduce yourselves. He looks at Sarkamon and he says, I wouldn't recommend trying to say that any of you are descendants of the Silver Dragon. That might upset him. His name is Vladimir Horngard, and you can find him at Argenvostholt. They say it's to the southwest of this town.
Has he also passed away?
They say, yeah. The Order of the Silver Dragon fell about 400 years ago.
Was this right after Strahd got his power or right before?
It was just after he got his power.
We will keep that in mind. And if we make it through tonight's meeting, we will definitely make sure to follow your advice.
They say, be careful with this meeting. Strahd is a wily one. He likes to toy with people and play games with their minds. So be careful. Take what he says with a grain of salt, and hopefully we will see you again.
Likewise.
And they just head off. Like, they've turned around, they're heading away from the castle at this point. You've obviously kind of calmed their spirits for the time being.
Well, that honestly went better than I expected.
Fortunately.
Well, feel like we've wasted enough time. Let's go.
Alright, and now when you guys go back to the map, letter Q is the Argenvostholt that they talk about. They gave you more in-depth instructions on how to get there. So now it's on the map for you.
Nice.
Alright, so as you guys approach the fork in the road, you can see that black carriage is still sitting there, and Zelron Roaringhorn, the halfling guy, which, if you guys click on his token, can you see the picture of him? I didn't think so. I want to see if I can find a way to show him to you, just so you can like accurately picture him.
From his picture, he looks like a meat pie. I mean, the token. Or as Dougie likes to say, he's a good boy.
I don't know if I can show it, but basically he's like a halfling who he's got like really awful mutton chops. He's a ginger. He just picture him as like someone like the kid who would have been picked on all the time. But you get there and he's just sitting on top of the carriage, like not in the driver's seat, on the very top of it, and he's just kind of looking at you guys with his arms crossed, and he's like, you were pushing it. He doesn't like to be kept waiting, but I think you're okay. He's used to waking up late.
Was Cole gonna be able to make it this week?
He just texted me like 15 minutes ago. Let me see. Yeah, about 15 minutes ago, and said he was in Fort Collins on the way back to his house, and that he'd hopefully hop in soon, so I would expect it to be in like just a couple minutes here.
Word.
Okay.
But I have a way, like, even if you guys make it into the castle, he can still join. I'll just have this guy lead him in as well. Unless, if you guys wanted to take like a 5-minute break, see if he was able to jump on. It's up to you. I really don't care.
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe 10 minutes just so I can like grab some food or something really quick.
I'm down for that if you guys are.
Yep, break sounds good.
Cool. I'll text Cole and just see real quick. And yeah, I'm gonna stay on Discord, but I'll probably go grab something to drink real quick.
Alright, so like 7:25, 7:30ish.
Yep, that works for me.
Sounds good. Thank you.
But yeah, Dylan, like I was saying earlier, you should definitely get a Switch when you get a chance.
Yeah, dude, I'm planning on it. I was hoping I was going to be able to buy it next month, but it looks like I might need to replace my fridge, so it might have to wait another month or two.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yeah, not too happy about it.
I bet. What was I gonna say? Oh, I just picked up that Pillars of Eternity